I wrote a country song, also wrote a rap dubstep song, and I remixed a lot of old songs. I've been generating a lot of songs. I mean, I didn't make them, I generated them through Suno, but I wrote the lyrics, and I added the prompts to determine the genre and sometimes what instruments are there and stuff, and anyways, one second. All right, I'm back. And I did prepare a passage of God's words, and it is a very interesting passage. So stay tuned for that. But I wanted to talk about, I got some beta alanine, and the reason why I got it is because there was beta alanine in the Optogen HP I used to take. But the Optogen HP is really expensive, and my mom wasn't sure about me being on it, switching to a new medication, and she wanted me to tell the pharmacy, and so I've been keeping this a secret from her. But this was in the Optogen HP, and I discovered that's what was making me feel tingly all over, and I love that feeling of feeling tingly all over. So the intended purpose of the beta alanine, you're not supposed to take it just to feel the tingles. You're supposed to take it to increase endurance for working out. But I just take it for the tingles. But I think I took too much because the serving size is 3 grams. It's this little scoop. I mean, you see how little that is. That's a little scoop. And, I took the scoop and I made sure it was level. It wasn't a heaping scoop, but it was just a regular serving, just regular serving size, just 1 scoop. That's all I took. And I'm starting to think 1 serving size is probably too much for me because the tingling is more intense than what I experienced on the Optogen HP, which the Optogen HP was like a compilation supplement, had a lot of different stuff in it. So of course it wasn't as potent in each ingredient. I think like I don't even think it was in the grams of how many. I think it was less than a gram of how much beta alanine was in the Optogen HP. So I'm gonna have to really cut back on this so that I can feel, like better, better than I mean, I don't feel bad. I mean, it's all right. It's just a little itchy, and I don't really like that too much. But I mean, I'm kind of itchy all the time, anyways. So it's not really necessarily caused by the beta alanine. It just makes me think it is because I'm feeling super intense tingles everywhere, and I don't want it this intense, so I'm gonna cut back. All right, God's words. Those who love God are those who love the truth, and the more those who love the truth put it into practice, the more of it they have. The more they put it into practice, the more of God's love they have, and the more they put it into practice, the more blessed they are by God. If you always practice in this way, God's love for you will gradually enable you to see, just as Peter came to know God. Peter said that God not only has the wisdom to create the heavens and earth and all things, but moreover, that he also has the wisdom to do real work in people. Peter said that he is not only worthy of people's love because of his creation of the heavens and earth and all things, but moreover because of his ability to create man, to save man, to make man perfect, and to bequeath his love to man. So too did Peter say that there is much in him that is worthy of man's love. Peter said to Jesus, "Is creating the heavens and earth and all things the only reason you deserve people's love? There is more in you that is lovable. You act and move in real life. Your spirit touches me inside. You discipline me. You reproach me. These things are even more worthy of people's love. If you wish to see and experience God's love, then you must explore and seek in real life and must be willing to put aside your own flesh. You must make this resolution. You must be someone with resolve who is able to satisfy God in all things without being lazy or coveting the enjoyments of the flesh, not living for the flesh but living for God. There may be times when you do not satisfy God. This is because you do not understand God's will. The next time, even though it will take more effort, you must satisfy him and must not satisfy the flesh. When you experience in this way, you will have come to know God. You will see that God can create the heavens and earth and all things, and that he has become flesh so that people can actually see him and actually engage with him. You will see that he is able to walk among men, and that his spirit can make people perfect in real life, allowing them to see his loveliness and experience his discipline, his chastening, and his blessings. If you always experience in this way, in real life you will be inseparable from God. And if one day your relationship with God ceases to be normal, you will be able to suffer reproach and to feel remorse. When you have a normal relationship with God, you will never wish to leave God. And if one day God says he will leave you, you will be afraid and will say that you would rather die than be left by God. As soon as you have these emotions, you will feel that you are incapable of leaving God, and in this way you will have a foundation and will truly enjoy God's love. I've reached the point where, I have this foundation. I feel incapable of leaving God, but what I think is very interesting about this is that when you have these emotions, like these emotions that are related to God saying that he's going to leave you, you have a foundation and will enjoy God's love. Like that is a very interesting connection there in God's words. And that's why I said this passage was interesting. It really is, because this means that if God says he will leave you, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have lost all hope. Even though you'll feel afraid and you would rather die than for God to leave you, and that's how you'll feel. But these feelings don't reflect reality. According to God's words, we can find comfort in knowing that if you feel this way, it is affirmation that you have a foundation and that you have experienced God's love. And that's what that means. And that blows my mind. God really goes against our notions, and like God's been going against my notions lately, and I've been thanking him for every bit of it. Like my sister stopped listening to rap music yesterday, right? The day that I actually wrote a rap song, she told me she stopped listening to rap music. And it's like, wow. That's crazy. What are the odds of that? The day I'd write a rap song, she tells me she stopped listening to rap. That's like really interesting how God worked that out so that my notions would be countered. Me thinking, oh, she's going to love this song because she loves rap and this is a really good rap song. It's Christian. It has my testimony in it. It praises God, and I just thought she would be able to appreciate it. And, she did like it for what it was, but she's trying to avoid rap, and I think that's really interesting how that happened. And there's been some other things that have happened that have went against my notions, things that have been unexpected. God's arrangements are unexpected. I mean, people are unexpected, so how much more so is God unexpected, People think of God, because they quote that verse in the Bible that says the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And that doesn't mean that he's just like not active and not doing different things every day. Like just because he is the same doesn't mean he just does the same things over and over and over. He does different things. He's alive and active and real. He's active in our real lives. And he's making arrangements for us, because I've been praying for God to counter my notions, just to experience his sovereignty. And when a notion of mine is countered by reality, I just smile and say a silent prayer to God, like, God, thank you for countering my notion, because I love experiencing God's sovereignty, and especially when something happens that's obviously within God's sovereignty, sometimes it's kind of hard to see what's within God's sovereignty and what's derived of human will, which I'm not even sure how much free will mankind has at this point, to be honest. I mean, I know mankind definitely has free will, for sure. But I'm just not sure to what extent, I think that we can submit to God's arrangements or rebel against God's arrangements, and that's the choice we have, and that's our free will, and that's pretty much the only little bit of control we have, you know. But God's arrangements will happen regardless, whether we submit to them or reject them. So, might as well submit. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. That's it for this video, and God bless. Hope you have a great rest of the day or evening or, you know, whatever. You know, God bless and goodbye.